connection network. So let's start with the introduction. What is CDN? So the main thing on CDN is delivering content to end user. So it is essentially a network of server distributed across various geographic locations, and it aims to reduce latency and to make sure the high availability of the content. So it relies on the catching content such as the video, the images, or any type of data. So it relies heavily on the catching technology. So this show the diagram of CDN. So you have the server, the main server here, and then the mini server located in different region of the globally. So for example, here you have one in North America, one the main server is in North America, and then the image or the copy is in Africa, in Asia, and so on. So that's the idea of CDN. So you have this term, the origin server, and then you have the edge server. Edge server is in green. So the edge server will request from the origin server before delivering it to the end user. So when the user requests for any content, it will look first from the edge server. If the content is in the edge server, then it will respond, provide the response. Otherwise, it will request from the origin server. So the goal is to make it faster, especially in delivering content. So normally it refers to the server, physically closer to the user, and to ensure reliability. So if any of the server down, it can still provide traffic by requesting from the other server. Scalability, to make sure it can handle, for example, the web server can handle large amount of data without crashing, and also lastly for security purpose. So this is how CDN works. Sorry, I forgot to update the slide. So you have the origin and the edge server. So as you can see here, the end user requests to the server physically close to you, to the user. So if the content is in the edge server, then it can immediately respond to the user. Otherwise, it will take the it will request the content from the origin server before it can deliver to the end user. So this is the main goal of CDN in terms of speed, in terms of reliability, and the scalability, and also the security, because CDN provide protection against the DOS and also the encryption. So let us have a look at the history of CDN. It started in the mid-90s, quite new. This is quite new technology. So the first company to deploy is Akamai Technologies. So in the beginning, Akamai deliver video and other media content. So the focus initially is on the media content, multimedia content, but after that the content also include even web content. So after that, the other company followed. For example, Limelight Network in 2001, Edgecast Network in 2006, Akamai in 1998. Nowadays, the major player in CDN include Cloudflare, Akamai, Amazon, CloudFront, and Fastly. So these four companies are the big player today. So CDN is still a very popular and a very important technology in today's internet. So global market overview. This year, the market, CDN market, is estimated to reach around 30 billion. Yeah. Last year it is 25, so even the CAGR is more than 60%. Yeah. So for the next 10 years, it could expand up to 140 billion. So CDN is a very important technology. Now, what's the difference between CDN and web host? CDN is focusing on delivering content, while web host focusing on the website file. So web host is, from the name itself, it is solely for providing or serving website content. So in terms of network infra, CDN require large network infra, and the server often located around the world. A web host requires smaller infra, and it is normally located in one or two data center. So normally most of the time one is sufficient, but for big organization it might require at least one backup center for a web host. While CDN, by nature, the infra is around the world, the server located around the world. In terms of cost, of course, CDN is more expensive. In terms of functionality, web host normally for website, while CDN is more on the content delivery. Web hosting. How about cloud versus CDN? So cloud computing. Cloud computing focus more on delivering services, computing services. It means, for example, computing power, or even the storage, or even the application. So cloud computing is more on the service, whereas CDN is more specialized on the content, and it relies heavily on the caching content by having several servers around the world that allow user to access the content more quickly, because they can access the server from the server that are closer to them. So you can use CDN for delivering static content or even dynamic content. So that is the main difference. Cloud computing is more on the computing service, whereas CDN is more on the content delivery. So this is the main difference. You can say that cloud computing is more flexible and scalable, but it is not optimized for delivering content quickly. Of course, you can use cloud computing to deliver content as well, but it is not optimized in terms of speed and availability. Whereas for CDN, it is more specialized and focused on delivering content. So this will result in faster content delivery and more reliable compared to cloud computing. You can also use cloud computing for delivering content, but if you happen to provide faster delivery and more reliable, then CDN is the better option. So the main difference is in terms of flexibility and scalability, and also in terms of speed and reliability. So these 4 factors differentiate the services provided by the cloud computing and CDN. So you want to use CDN because you want to provide faster website loading, to improve the availability. You want to reduce the percentage of server goes down. Better scalability. You want to handle large amount of traffic, then you can go for CDN. To reduce the server load, because you have many servers around the world, then you can distribute the loading, the server loading. And of course, the last one is in terms of security. You want to improve security because CDN inherently provide security feature, especially in protecting against DDoS attack. Now, this is the key component of CDN. You need to have the edge server, the origin server. Yeah, this is very clear, very obvious. Origin server is the origin server, and then we have the edge server. And then you need to have the caching mechanism, and the last one is called content routing and load balancing. So what is edge server? So for any company to provide CDN, they must have edge server located in different locations around the world. So any user requesting for content, they can request from the server located closer to them. For example, a user in Tokyo, when it requests a content from a website, it can request from the server located in Tokyo as well, looking for the cache content. So this will reduce the amount of time required to get the content. So this is how it looks like. Visitor will first request from the edge server. Now the second component is the origin server. So this is the primary source of the content. So any update, normally it is done in the origin server. So each server will simply synchronize its content with the origin server to make sure its data is updated. caching is the fourth component, very important. Okay. So caching mechanism is to make sure frequently accessed content is stored on the edge server. So, for example, if any popular news should be cached in the edge server to make sure its content can be delivered quickly to the user. So this one will reduce the overloading in the origin server. Of course, the next component is the last component is content routing and load balancing. So CDN must be able to provide routing, advanced routing technique in order to make sure the load balancing. This will reduce latency and improve redundancy and make sure the reliability of data or content delivery. Okay, we have many type of CDN. So the first one is traditional CDN. So this is the original type of CDN. So the infra is the server are located in different locations around the world. So this type of CDN rely on the caching mechanism and delivering static content. These include Akamai, Limelight, and Cloudflare. These are traditional type of CDN. Then the second type is what we call P2P, P2P CDN. So instead of relying on the server, this one relying on the network of user. So this one rely on the PC provided by the user. So it uses the PC as a server to provide the CDN service. Then the third type is what we call private CDN. So this is for CDN. For any organization that want to host their CDN. So they have their own private CDN. So Amazon, for example, Microsoft, they have their own private CDN. Of course, the last type of CDN is hybrid CDN. So it combines the traditional and P2P CDN. So how does a CDN work? So it starts with the CDN server, which means the origin server. So the origin server will store the original content. And then the second component, the edge server. So the edge server will copy the content from the central server. So okay, when the user requires So the request is actually forwarded to the edge server. So the server that closest to the user. The cache in the edge server will be checked. So if the content is the cache, the content is found in the server, the content will be forwarded to the user. Otherwise, the request will be forwarded to the central server. So cache check is very important here. And of course, the next step is content delivery. Cache expiration. Okay. So normally what happened here, the edge server will have the cache expire time. So when the content expire, so the edge server will request the new content, new copy from the central server. And the last one is in terms of load balancing. So in terms of load balancing, so the CDN provider will apply load balancing technique to make sure the distribution of your user requests even among the edge server, across the edge server. Now, how does CDN caching work? Because CDN caching is the main features or the key features in CDN services. So there are many way to implement CDN. So caching, CDN caching can be time based. For example, the amount of time for the content cache is 24 hours or a week. So after that, it will be refreshed. Or event based caching. So this only updated when the content in the origin server is updated. So the last type is dynamic caching. So the cache is updated when there is a new request for the content. So to make sure reliability and redundancy in CDN, so CDN normally provide multiple server allocated in different geographical location. So what happens if one server goes down or overloaded? The traffic can be forwarded to So redundancy can be provided by simply build in the redundancy in the network architecture. So how CDS reduce the cost in terms of bandwidth cost? So this happens due to caching mechanism. One is because of the caching mechanism. Load balancing, yeah. Load balancing also help in reducing the cost. Compression, CDN use compression technique so that the size of file can be reduced before it is transmitted over the network. Traffic management, yeah, CDN can apply traffic management by forwarding to the nearest edge server. So this will reduce latency and of course the bandwidth. So nowadays this is the CDN platform, example of CDN platform, Cloudflare, the Akamai, CloudFront and Fastly. So you can go to their website. For example, Akamai. So as you can see here, Akamai specialized in content delivery, CDN. If you go for, let's say, Fastly, yeah, this one also one of the main services providing CDN services. So these are some of the CDN platform that provide CDN. Others include MaxCDN, this one by MaxCDN. Google also provide its own CDN service, StackPath. So in summary, CDN is still very crucial nowadays in the internet infra nowadays. It provides faster and more reliable and also scalable content delivery. It helps in improving performance by reducing the latency and better reliability and also better security features.